Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. Today's video is just a bit of a catch-up and chat. So I was doing these on a fairly regular basis, just catching up with everyone, letting everyone know what was going on. I had incorporated like weekly garden updates, and then we had all these issues with the contaminated compost and stuff, and the gardens have just been a bit of a write-off. We're at the moment we're in the process of getting the pathways cleared and the beds cleared out, and we're going to top them up with some added soil on the top and plant some autumn seedlings in that extra soil on the top, and hope that the mushroom compost has broken down enough underneath that these things can do okay, and we're going to net the beds and things like that. And you know, that's ongoing, but there's not a lot that I've been able to sort of share with that because it's just been dribs and drabs of trying to figure it out. As we get it cleaned up more and get the irrigation placed better how we wanted to place it, then that I'll share all that too once we get that all working and we have those 200-litre barrels feeding into the rest of the beds, and we can show you how we pump the water from the IBC into filling those, and then how I can amend those barrels as well if I want to put amendments into the barrels to feed the plants at different rates, which is why we'll tend to plant things that you would use similar sort of amendments in the same beds and things like that, because there'll be 2 beds per 200-litre barrel and things like that. So there's lots of planning and discussion that has gone on to do with the garden, but nothing really has progressed. We needed to get it all done before the heat of summer and then just have it grow, and we didn't get it done, and that's part of the flaw in the whole plan. Even ignoring the issues with the compost, is that we didn't get everything done before the heat of summer hit, and then the heat of summer hit and it's next to impossible to do anything out there. I know that's a little bit wussy of us, but it's just the way it is. So the plan is that we think that these few days now, it's hitting 37, 38 degrees at the moment. It's pretty horrible, but we think that these few days are probably going to be the last wave of significant heat this year. End of February, beginning of March is generally when we get that last sort of wave. So the forecasts post this sort of wave are in the 30, 32, which is very much tolerable compared to 37, 38. So I'm hoping that as the temperatures drop, we get a chance to do a whole lot more things, not only with the garden and updates and stuff that way, but also creativity will be better because of the fact that it's not so hot. The heat just is such an issue for getting stuff done. Sorry, there's kids riding around on bikes. The heat is such an issue for impacting productivity and things like that, so I'm really looking forward to that reducing. In regards to the buildings, I don't have much more to share on the buildings. I think I mentioned the last video that we're having some issues getting the ceilings in with just Darryl and I, instead of having a third person here. What are you doing, buddy? So what was I saying? Yes, the buildings. So we're having some trouble getting the buildings going with just Darryl and I in the heat and things like that. We're having a lot of trouble getting the next steps done. It really, really would benefit having a third person here. So we're doing what we can, but I don't have much to share there yet. I might walk around after I've finished and I'll just show you that first piece of ceiling and to show you what it's going to look like. But we're still, yeah, we're plotting there, which is really, I think it makes things really hard at the moment too, because I know that like at the moment I'm standing out here in the heat of the garden to do this little bit of a chat video with a boring background and all the rest of it, and I'm not walking around because I've got the main camera rather than my phone, knowing that once we've got that space set up that we'll have more space, and I'm just so looking forward to having that space and having the ability to spread out a little bit more, have our bed in a bedroom, be able to do some more sewing and have like the heat press and everything for my mugs and the printer easily accessible, because at the moment it's really awkward to do any of that. So I'm really looking forward to that space, and knowing that the majority of that space is already there and that we've already paid for it and it's half done, but it's on the other side of the wall and we can't use it. It's wearing a little thin, but we'll get there, and hopefully we'll get some help over the, as I said, over the Easter long weekend, and that will mean that we can get most of that done. So I totally came out here to do this video without any real plan. So as per usual, guys, it is what it is. So yes, the buildings, that's what's going on with the buildings. Not much has happened as yet. I'm so looking forward to them getting done, but we'll see. I'll take you around there in a minute to show you what the ceiling looks like from inside, because it's pretty amazing. And they're so big and airy. Anyway, the garden, again, not much going on. I'll share when I have more to share. I did put a link up on Instagram and Facebook and on the community post here, which community posts don't have great reach, I found. I did start up the Patreon. So everyone has been saying I should do it, and I really hesitated to do it, but what we're trying to do at the moment is figure out what we're doing with me having lost my work. So because I lost that job, we're trying to decide how we were going to replace that income that I had lost. The only issue was that income was quite significant for the amount of hours that I worked, because it was very specialized. So replacing that is difficult. And I don't know that I really wanted to replace it with the similar sort of thing with another company or client, because then there's an obligation to continue doing it, and the hope was not to have to do it indefinitely. I had loyalty to this company that I was doing it for, and I've been working with them for 4.5 years, and I was going to continue it indefinitely because the money is great, but also because I had loyalty to the company. But at the same time, it's not fun work. It's boring. I'm very good at it, but it was boring, and I would much prefer to be doing other things, but we also need that income. So I've been doing some stuff with Darryl. Darryl does, I have mentioned it before, but I don't know how in depth I've mentioned it. So Darryl does virtual tabletop conversions for Dungeons and Dragons adventures. So when I was young, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons on guinea fowl today are our visitors. I used to play Dungeons and Dragons on the tabletop. You know, a whole lot of us got together an evening and we'd play it on the tabletop with dice and all the rest of it. Now you can play it online, so which works really well for us. Darryl plays a couple of games online with mates. So people create the adventures and then you can play them online using a virtual tabletop setup. So what he does is he does the really creative aspects of it, and he turns it into this sort of interactive game using these virtual tabletops, and he uses a few different types: Shard, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Foundry, Alchemy. There's a few different companies that make the virtual tabletop environments, and he converts for all of them. So part of that converting is all the creative stuff that he does, all the fancy stuff to do with the mechanics of the game and stuff, but some of it's just basic. It's not basic, it's still, you know, still requires some skill set, but it's a lot of almost data entry, which he's been training me to do. So I've been taking that on. So at the moment, that's what we've been doing. The problem being that he used to do it all by himself until this point, and so trying to work out a way to get a rhythm going so that we're doing more work than what he was, because the income that he was earning wasn't very much, because he was just doing it on his own. But with the two of us, the hope is to do work faster, to take on more work and get it done faster and get a more solid income coming through, rather than just that sporadic income that he was getting previously. So we're working on that. In the process of doing that, only like a couple of months ago, before the job loss, we had discussed branding him a little bit so that he could, because he's got quite a name in the field of doing these conversions and things like that. He gets clients who seek him out because he's really good at what he does. But he also writes. So Darryl has always written, and he has a hit record account. I'll try and remember to put all these links and stuff in. He has a hit record account where he writes, and he likes to write his own bits and pieces of Dungeons and Dragons type things that he then sells for the VTTs. And we had plans to do some stuff together. We have a whole storyline that we wanted to create together at some point, and we just haven't got around to it. So we were looking at giving him a brand so that he could do all these things under one umbrella. But we didn't end up getting there. And so we've had discussions since then, and we've decided to do it as a bit of a family brand. So in the Our Small Footprint realm of things, the logo that I got with that design was one that I picked and helped to produce, but I didn't create myself back 6-7 years ago, and it was actually before we moved off grid. The intent was to create something completely different. It was a pre-purchase sort of a business model which had a website with a marketplace where other people could advertise and things like that, and it was all good in theory, but it wasn't something that I really could pursue. It just wasn't me. I'm not a salesperson, and that it was too much of a inauthentic sort of a thing for me. So initially, and then I got the typing work and stuff, and I didn't need to do that straight off the bat and things like that. So the logo has never been, it's never completely tickled me. I really liked the concept of it, and it was the best, you know, option out of a few when we picked the colorways and all the rest of it, but it just wasn't quite, didn't really tickle. So since I've been doing so much more work with creating my own art and things like that, I decided to rejig the logo, and I'll put a screenshot of it up here. So it's similar, same color scheme and all the rest of it, just a little bit more me. So one of the things that I disliked about the previous logo was that I wasn't, like, I didn't want to wear it on a shirt or anything. It just didn't appeal to me in that sort of a sense. Whereas this, I'm happy to put it on product, on some tote bags, or on, you know, a mug, or on a shirt with something, or things like that. So I've rejigged that. And in the process of that, when we were discussing, Darryl and I were discussing his branding and things like that, and this is so all over the place, and I do apologize, but I get in trouble for apologizing too, so you know. So we were discussing his brand, and we decided to make it a family brand. So Surreal is really into doing art and stuff as well, and we have discussed plenty of times that she could potentially sell art, or be part of the Dungeons and Dragons factor, because there's always art that you can sell there, or she could create designs for mugs and stuff, and do whatever she wants to do there. So she's always been that way inclined. Sonnet is very crafty, and she's learning how to crochet, though we're struggling a little bit with that, but she wants to learn how to crochet and things like that. And I've said all along that if she wants to do something like that, people, like teenagers, make businesses out of doing all that sort of thing. So again, this is we're looking for an umbrella term that could be over the whole family. So our small footprint is, you know, the YouTube, and it's me, and that's, you know, that sort of thing. But we've also decided to go with Dragon Clan Studio. So Darryl's idea was that we could, when he was looking at the our small footprint logo, was that we could do something similar with dragon footprints. And then we've worked on the name based on what's available and things like that. So I'll put a screenshot up here of the logo that we've created for Dragon Clan Studio as well. And we're registering all that and getting that all sorted so that we have that umbrella over the top of any sort of our artistic endeavors and things like that alongside our small footprint. We could use our small footprint, but it doesn't mean anything in the realm of like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and that's where his specialties lie. So the idea is that it's something, you know, similar but not quite the same. So that's the plan at the moment anyway. And I have tangented again, but so that logo there is the idea for that. I'm lost. I think I don't even know where I started pulling that conversation from. Oops, kick camera. So now I'm sure I already mentioned the Patreon, but I don't know where I brought that into what we were just discussing. Something to do with figuring out our income and things like that, and websites, and I don't know. Anyway, so people had been saying I should start up a Patreon, and I was really hesitant to do it because I thoroughly believe that if someone's paying for something, there should be some value added to that. Like YouTube is free, so everyone who watches it, I earn money from YouTube, and I think people get confused a little bit about how money is earned from YouTube too, so I'll quickly go over that too. YouTube has ads, and the advertisers pay for those ads to be displayed on videos. So what we're getting paid is part of the ad income. So from what I understand, it's something along the lines of YouTube owns 50% of the ad revenue, and the creators earn the other 50%. So per view ends up being a dollar value. So everyone's per 1,000 view dollar value is different. It depends on the niche that you're in. It depends on the country that you're in. It depends on how often you put videos out. There's a lot of things that ride on that. But mine currently sits at about $19 per 1,000 views. So that's around about what I earn on YouTube. And those 1,000 views, it really depends on, like, there's an average factor in there too. So if you're a channel where you don't have regulars who watch all the time and they don't watch the ads and all that, then your dollar per 1,000 views is probably going to be less because more people are going to skip your ads. So you're going to get less ad watchers in those 1,000 views. I think that you guys are pretty damn fantastic in watching my ads and stuff like that, because my dollar per 1,000 is pretty high. And I think that a lot of that is based around the fact that you guys watch the ads, which I'm super grateful for. The other thing is that I tend to be quite long-winded. I don't know if anyone's noticed that one. And so it means that there's mid-roll ads. I think it's every 10 minutes or something there's mid-roll ads. I don't select it. It does it automatically. And because there's mid-roll ads, then sometimes you can get more dollar per 1,000 the views because people are watching more ads per view of the video kind of thing. So my rambling, it has some benefits there. Maybe, but I am pretty notorious for forgetting that I'm supposed to watch ads and clicking through, so I hold it against no one who clicks skip ads in their thing. So YouTube pays around about, for me, it's around about $19 per 1,000 views, though in January it was like $9 per 1,000, so it really varies depending on how much the advertisers are playing, the type of how much the advertisers are paying, and the time of year that they're paying, and that sort of thing. It also depends on consistency of videos. So like if on a day that I put a video out, I might make $60. But on the next day, when there's no video out, it might be $20. And then if there's another day following that I don't put a video out, it's $10, because there's less views per day without those new videos. So by putting a video out every 2 or 3 days, it keeps the averages up a little bit better for me. I've had months, like when I started, where I was only earning $200 a month. I've had, I think my biggest month ever has been $1,900, and I think that was November, so that was a lot of Christmas advertising. So it's not huge dollar value in the scheme of things, but it's fairly significant for us when you think about the fact that I only spend $2,000 every 6 weeks on groceries, and we have very minimal debt otherwise. Then it is a significant amount of money to us. So super grateful for whatever we get out of it. The issue there is that consistency is required to make decent money and to gain subscribers and things like that, and the only way to get more views is to have more subscribers. As much as I'm not big on having to, you know, it's not like I'm aiming to be this huge YouTube person with this huge amount of subscribers or anything like that. I very much enjoy what I'm doing, and I don't really have time to make it much cleaner than it is. It's always going to be a little rough and always going to be very authentic, but a little, you know. So that's not what I'm aiming for, but at the same time, bumping the income there would be beneficial for other things. But to do that, I have to put videos out every couple of days, which is a fair bit of work. And by doing that, it's removing my time from other things, which is, you know, what has been tried to be explained before. So that's why we need the sideline of things, which is things like making the artwork for the mugs and things like that. I had a thought that I might try and do some sort of calendar for the end of the year. I could put a calendar out for next year. I know that quite a few YouTubers do that. And I could do something with Australian wildlife or something. I used to work as a photographer when I was when Surreal was a baby, basically, but I haven't done it for a long time. But we'll see how the year progresses, and we will leave, you know, choices open. But I also have the artwork that I've been doing. So I did all the Christmas artwork with the Australian animals, and I'll release that again next Christmas, because I didn't really have a chance to release it this Christmas. But I've also been doing other Australian animals to do different things. I tend to make the kids mugs around Easter time for winter hot chocolate, so I thought I might try and get a range of images out people might like on mugs for winter as well. And I wouldn't mind doing some tote bag type, you know, like the shopping bags, because I would use them and I could do my own advertising on and things like that. So that's one sideline that we've sort of looked at. And then bringing it back to the other thing was Patreon. So people had suggested I do Patreon, but I wasn't real sure about it because I didn't have much in the way of value add, or I didn't feel like I did. But there's been discussions about recipes and stuff and recipe testing, and I do need people to do that. And so if people are interested in doing that, then I need another platform to discuss it with them. I thought about a Facebook group, but I'm not real keen on trying to manage a Facebook group at the moment. I do manage a Australian canning and preserving group already, and that it takes a fair bit of time. I enjoy doing it because I do a lot of that stuff anyway. All the guinea fowl coming back to... Hello. On their way back to get food. So I thought about a Facebook group. I also use Discord a fair bit, but I know that a lot of other people don't use Discord, but I can link Discord to the Patreon too, which might be something we do later. But the Patreon is going to give me the opportunity to have a little bit of a smaller audience to discuss certain things with, and to ask about recipe testing and things like that, put recipes out, get people to try them, and then we can get some feedback on them, things like that. So when I set up the Patreon though, I looked at a lot of the information that Patreon gives you about what you should do and shouldn't do and all that. And I decided to set up tiers for people to choose from, but not differentiate them at all. So there's 3 tiers and they're worth $5 US, $10 US and $25 US, but all the benefits of each of the tiers are the same. So that way no one feels that they have to pay more to access anything. You pay what you can afford to pay, or what you choose to pay, or what you want to pay to support me, because in the end that's what you're doing, is you're supporting my ability to provide more videos, more recipes, get the website going. I did post on Patreon actually today. One of the big differences with Patreon though is that if you are a free member you can't comment on posts, which is, I understand why, but it's a bit sad, because I'm happy to have free members on there, and I'm more than happy to post a bunch of stuff that's for everyone to see, as well as the stuff for the paid Patreons. So if you want to join as a free member, feel free. There will be stuff posted on there as well. What was I saying? So yeah, I decided, I don't know where I was going with that. So I decided to do the 3 different tiers. You can custom pledge as well. There is a custom thing where you can put your own amount in. But I just wanted to do the base numbers that everyone seems to do, and just do them with everything's included in each one. And that way, even people who $5 US a month, which is, you know, going to make a difference to me, they still get access to anything that I release on there for members only. Give me some feedback on how you think it's going to work, or if you know, any sort of feedback on that is great. The other thing I was saying was I started work on the website, wasn't I? I got sidetracked. So I recently redid the website, but I just haven't been happy with it, and I haven't been happy with how I've been posting the recipes and things like that. It's working, but it just wasn't quite right. So I actually am working on a new reiteration of it in the background. You can't get to it at the moment, it's hidden, but it will replace the new one as soon as I've got it finished. Replace the old one as soon as I've got it sorted. So I'll put a screenshot of here and here, because I put that up on the Patreon to show everyone too. There was a screenshot of the in the free to see comments of what we're getting, what are we doing there. So yes, I'm totally lost on anything I was saying and whether I've covered anything, and it's too late in the day. I think that's part of the problem too. It is 5:30 before I got out here to do this, and I need to go in and cook dinner, which is fine because I have meat pulled out and everything to dinner. We're doing beef stir fry with rice and veggies, but yeah, so... And then the camera overheats. Shows how hot it is today. So yeah, so I think I've covered the bits and pieces. The other thing I wanted to say, so this video is a little bit of a discussion about how you're supporting me and how I'm getting paid, as well as updates and stuff like that. So I went over the YouTube, which I wanted to do, and this is how the Patreon works. Patreon takes a percentage out of everything, but so does everything else, and that's just the way it is. The other thing I get asked all the time is about Amazon wishlist. Again, Amazon wishlist is something that I struggle with, because it feels like asking for something for nothing. I will try and get it going again, because I did start one and then I just wasn't really advertising it. But the other way you can support me via Amazon is that any of the links that are in my description that are an Amazon link, if you click on that, even if you don't purchase the item that's on the link, if you purchase something else on Amazon within 24 hours of clicking that, then it holds my cookies or whatever it is, and I get a commission on whatever you've purchased. There's different varying levels of commissions and all the rest of it, and I don't know the ins and outs of it entirely, but I know that some YouTubers, creators and things like that make a really huge income out of that Amazon, but most of them are American because we just don't use Amazon very much. I have a Prime membership and I use Amazon quite a lot. I always check the prices there because it's free shipping, and we have the Prime account anyway because we have the Prime Video and things like that, so it works out well for me. But I know that a lot of Australians don't use Amazon a whole lot. But if you are buying something from Amazon and you click on one of my referral links and then you purchase something that isn't even what is on that referral link, then I do earn a commission. I also earn commissions on Lavelle products, which I mention regularly because I have their mincer and their yogurt maker and stuff that I really like. And there's a couple of other bits and pieces, but nothing significant. So I much prefer the idea of earning an income from value add, which is why I wanted to do things like the products, like the mugs and things like that. Recipes and the website earns its own income. So if I can get the website working and I get enough traffic to the website, then there can be ads on the website, which has its pros and cons. It's nice not to have them, but at the same time it earns me an income. And if every time someone wants to look up, you know, remembers, I do it all the time, I have these regular websites that I go to, so I must visit them multiple times a month to check their recipes, and I don't even use their recipes half the time, but that's traffic for their website, which is helping them get paid as well. So if I can get the website working, then that works as well. And then other bits and pieces as we go along. But by having lost the work that I was doing and then adding things like Patreon and stuff, the idea is that I have more time to get this stuff done. We will see how it goes. It's all a work in progress at the moment, and we will just have to see how the money holds out in the meantime, because the whole point is that I only got a severance for a 60-day sort of a time period. We actually had the brakes go in the ute, which cost us $670, and then we had to get the car serviced as well. Rates are due next week, which is, you know, it's pros and cons that these things are happening while we've got that severance, because we get them all done and out of the way, and it means that it's not going to pop up when we've got no money. Which is why, as I think I said in the previous video, I think I'm going to do a significant shop this month as well, do a fair bit of stocking up, because the point is that after this shop we may be really, really tight, and we may have to drag our shopping out a little bit longer and things like that until we figure out what we're doing. So we're going to use that money while we've got it in the ways that's going to benefit us long term. So it is Friday afternoon at the moment. I will have a couple more videos during the next week. I've got to finish up the food prep for this month, and then I will be leaving for groceries on Wednesday, so I'll do a video up with my inventorying and trying to figure out what we're doing this month and buying and planning and things like that. I'll do that like normal, and then we'll have the grocery videos. The food hamper, the monthly hamper, actually arrives Saturday. I come back with groceries on Friday. It arrives Saturday. Pros and cons again to that, but it is what it is. And so yeah, I think that's all I needed to update everyone on. So let me quickly walk you around to show what the ceiling from the inside looks like on those buildings, and then I will sign off and I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much, guys, and I'm apologizing for this rambling thing, even though everyone will sit there and go, this is what we listen to, and all the rest of it. It still feels awkward. I do look forward to having some space so that I could sit somewhere with some notes and maybe listen backwards and forwards and have the time to do it. But at the moment, this is what you get, because this is the only time that I've got. So 5:30 in the afternoon, all the kids are out feeding the animals. I've got dinner almost sorted to go, and yeah. I'm hoping winter will be better because it will be cooler, which will make a big difference. But the days are shorter too. So, you know, wishful thinking, maybe? Alrighty, let me walk you around. So this is what the inside of the ceiling will look like. It has this pattern on one side and then the roofing, the profile on the other, but we're having some problems getting it to snug into this corner because it's a little tighter in the corners than it is further back, which is normal because there's more flex in the walls the further away from the corners you get. But we're struggling with that a little bit. So that's as far as we've got at the moment, because we're trying to figure out the best way to get these roof panels into that slot there with just the two of us. So that was everything I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know if I've missed anything in that update, but feel free to ask in the comments and I will answer what I can, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.